Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Subha Kaul with the Midday News. The headlines. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says to restore normalcy, agreements between India and China must be respected scrupulously in the entirety. GST collection crosses 1 lakh crore in October as the country marches towards economic recovery, says Finance Ministry. Campaigning for the second phase of assembly elections in Bihar ends this evening. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 91.54%. And in IPL cricket, Kings 11 Punjab to take on Chennai Super Kings, Kolkata Knight Riders faces Rajasthan Royals. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaj ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news in detail. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that India will approach the world in a more proactive way in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Delivering Sardar Patel lecture organized by All India Radio yesterday evening, Dr. Jaishankar said some of them will be driven by a global vision of his interest that it has developed steadily over the years. He said whether it is a deeper commitment to Africa that underlines a historical solidarity or initiatives from Caribbean to South Pacific that drive a developmental vision, this is a statement of our own evolution. The minister said the pressures of the pandemic will naturally impart a different urgency to such engagements. He said in terms of harnessing global capabilities, diplomacy abroad will match the boldness of reforms at home. Dr. Jaishankar said we will take a much more holistic approach to policy challenges and the delivery prospects. He said Indian diplomacy will be more integrated with the defense and security needs, more supportive of the economic and commercial interests, more aware of the technology capabilities and offerings, and more sensitive to the diaspora. The External Affairs Minister said the COVID-19 pandemic has now shored up the perception of India as the pharmacy of the world.
We not only ramped up production to meet a spike in global demands, but actually supplied medicines to 150 countries, many of them on a grant basis. The attention is also shifting to the difference we will make in ensuring that vaccines for COVID are affordable and accessible.
The minister said while engaging the different poles of an emerging global order, India will continue to give the utmost attention to its immediate neighborhood. The minister said in the last few years, this was visible in political attention as much as in commitment of resources to building connectivity. He said as an outlook, the neighborhood first policy remains generous and non-reciprocal in creating the basis for shared activities in different domains. Dr. Jaishankar said the challenge of cross-border terrorism, though, is one of a kind and we have to be uncompromising in combating it. He said if regionalism is to seriously develop, it would need not only a positive approach towards trade, connectivity and contacts, but also an abjuring of terrorism as state policy. Speaking about India-China relations, the minister said that ties were stable for 3 decades as the two nations addressed inherited challenges and new circumstances. He said peace and tranquility in the border areas provided the basis for expanded cooperation in other domains. He said to restore normalcy, agreements between the 2 countries must be respected scrupulously in their entirety.
To restore normalcy, agreements between the 2 countries must be respected scrupulously in their entirety. Where the line of actual control is concerned, any attempt to unilaterally change the status quo is unacceptable. The relationship cannot be immune to changes in the assumptions that underpinned it.
Dr. Jaishankar said India will enter the UN Security Council for the 8th time as a non-permanent member on 1st of January 2021. He said with the passage of time, the case for a permanent presence has only grown stronger.
Finance Ministry today said that 1,05,155 crore rupees of gross GST revenue has been collected in the month of October this year. Talking to AIR News, Finance Secretary A.B. Pandey said,
The figures for the GST collections for October has come, and this is more than 1,05,000 crores. If we compare this figure with the October GST collection of last year, it is about 10% more. than the figure of the last year. And if we compare this in the month of September, the GST collection was around 95,000 crores. And now in this month, it has crossed 1,05,000 crores. So in absolute term also, as compared to the last year, as I stated before, it is more than 10%.
Out of the gross GST revenue collected, CGST is more than 19,000 crore rupees, SGST is more than 25,000 crore rupees, IGST is more than 52,000 crore rupees, including more than 23,000 crore rupees collected on import of goods, and cess is 8,011 crore rupees, including 932 crore rupees collected on import of goods. The total number of GSTR 3B returns filed for the month of October up to yesterday is 80 lakh. The government has settled 25,091 crore rupees to CGST and 19,427 crore to SGST from IGST as regular settlement. The total revenue earned by central government and the state governments after regular settlement in the month of October 2020 is 44,285 crores for CGST and 44,839 crore rupees for SGST. Finance Secretary A.B. Pandey said the growth in GST revenue as compared to that in months of July, August and September this year of -14%, -8% and 5% clearly shows the trajectory of recovery of the economy and correspondingly of the revenues.
Now, because of the series of stimulus and interventions done by the government, direct assistance to the vulnerable sections, giving direct benefit transfers to more than 20 crore Jan Dhan account holders, giving free food 25 kg per month to more than 80 crore people, which means 20 crore families, and also enhanced working capital limit to the MSME and in the various sectors of the industry. Now the results have started coming up. Now not only we have recovered, we are also entering into the positive growth territory.
In Bihar, campaigning for the second phase of elections will end this evening. In view of this, leaders of both NDA and the Grand Alliance are making last-ditch effort to woo voters. LGP and left parties are also holding a series of election meetings. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed an election rally in Chhapra. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi slammed the opposition for politicizing the Pulwama attack. The Prime Minister said the admission by the neighbouring country has exposed the real faces of those who did dirty politics over the attack. Mr. Modi said voting in the first phase of Bihar Assembly election has indicated huge gains for NDA and this has left opponents frustrated. Seeking votes in support of NDA candidates at Chhapra, Mr. Modi said after the first phase voting, it is clear that Nitish Kumar is all set to form government again. Prime Minister said that NDA government is working for the poor people.
वहीं भाजपा के नेतृत्व में एनडीए का हमारा गठबंधन देश के गरीब के जीवन से, बिहार के गरीब के जीवन से मुश्किलें कम कर रहा है। दशकों तक गरीबों ने जिन सुविधाओं का इंतजार किया, जिनके लिए उन्हें न जाने कहां-कहां चक्कर काटने पड़ते थे, वो अब उन्हें आसानी से मिल रहा है, हक से मिल रहा है।
Prime Minister said today Bihar has double engine ki sarkar. On the other hand, there are two Yuvraj, of whom one is from Jungle Raj. Prime Minister said each vote in favor of NDA will save Bihar from getting Bimar. He will also address election rally at Motihari, Samastipur and Bagha. Second phase of polling will be held in 94 constituencies spread over 17 districts, including Patna, Vaishali, Sitamarhi, Darbhanga and Madhubani on the 3rd of November. Now we go live to Chhapra, where our correspondent KK Lal is covering the assembly elections in the state. Lal, how's the atmosphere in Bihar? Is there any significant difference between the first phase and the second phase campaigning?
Abhishek, leaders of both NDA and Grand Alliance are making allegations and counter-allegations. In comparison to the first phase of campaigning, war of words is getting ferocious during the second phase of campaigning. Leader of Grand Alliance, Tejaswi Yadav, continues to promise youth to provide government jobs to unemployed youth. On the other hand, BJP President JP Nadda alleged that RJD is fooling people. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is saying rule of law has been established during NDA rule in the state. Accusing NDA, left leaders are alleging poor people are not getting benefit of government schemes.
Right, Talal. Who all are the star campaigners doing the rounds in Bihar today?
Abhishek, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is addressing election meetings and Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is also addressing a series of meetings. Senior RJD leaders are also busy in election meetings. Bollywood star Shatrughan Sinha, Ravi Kishan and Manoj Tiwari are also addressing rallies in support of their party candidates. Abhishek.
Thank you, KK Lal, for that update. In Madhya Pradesh, campaigning will end for by-elections to 28 assembly seats this evening. BJP and Congress are leaving no stone unturned to woo the voters. Election Commission has initiated action against political parties and the leaders indulging in violation of the Model Code of Conduct. Now we go live to Bhopal, where our correspondent Sanjeev Sharma is covering the by-elections in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Sanjeev, how's the campaigning going on and how's the people's participation in the campaign?
Abhishek, as you know that the situation of holding by-elections has been arises due to the collective resignation of around 25 Congress MLAs in Madhya Pradesh. The remaining seats are vacant due to the demise of the then MLAs. In total, assembly by-elections are being held in 28 seats in the state. 355 candidates are in the fray in these elections. Maximum 38 candidates are in Mehgaon seats of Morena district, while the minimum 3 candidates are in Badnavar seat of Dhar district.
Right, Sanjeev. Are COVID precautions been maintained during campaigning?
Abhishek, special arrangements have been made by the Election Commission to prevent corona infection. Voters of more than 80 years of age, Divyangjan and corona-infected people are allowed to vote from home through postal ballot. Apart from this, arrangements are also being made for thermal scanning, sanitization and safe distance between voters at polling stations. Abhishek.
Thank you, Sanjeev, for that update.
President and Vice President have greeted people of Haryana, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep and Puducherry on their formation day. In a tweet, President Ramnath Kovind said, "Let each state and union territory be an exemplar of peace and prosperity to make the country proud." Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said, "These states and the union territories represent India's rich cultural and geographical diversity, and they have enriched the nation through their natural and human resources." He wished the people of these states and union territories a happy, healthy and prosperous future. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has greeted the people of Kerala on their statehood day. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "Kerala Pirvi Day wishes to the wonderful people of Kerala who have always made indelible contributions to India's growth." He said Kerala's natural beauty has made it a feature among the most popular tourist destinations, drawing people from all over the world. Mr. Modi said he is praying for Kerala's continuous progress. The Prime Minister also wished people of Haryana on their foundation day. Mr. Modi said Haryana holds an important place in Indian history. He hoped that the state, which is symbol of prosperity and progress, continues to make new records of progress. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended Karnataka Rajyotsav greetings to his sisters and brothers of Karnataka. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said that powered by the strength and skills of the people of the state, Karnataka is scaling new heights of progress. He said he prays for the happiness and good health of the people of Karnataka. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had extended greetings to the people of Chhattisgarh on their statehood day. In a tweet, Mr. Modi wished that the state, which has been the center of various cultures since ancient times, should continue on the path of progress and prosperity. The Prime Minister has also extended greetings to the people of Madhya Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh.
Madhya Pradesh is celebrating its 65th Foundation Day today. The new state of Madhya Pradesh came into existence on the 1st of November 1956 as a result of the reorganization of the states in 1956. This state was formed by merging the erstwhile central provinces CP and Birar, Madhya Bharat, Vindhya Pradesh and Bhopal. A day before the formation of Madhya Pradesh state, the first governor of Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, was appointed at 12 noon on 31st October. At the same time, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla was sworn in as the Chief Minister, while Pandit K. Lal Dubey had the distinction of becoming the first Speaker of the Madhya Pradesh Legislative Assembly. Bhopal, the capital of Madhya Pradesh, was made. The names of Jabalpur and Indore were also included in the race to become the capital. At the time of formation, there were 43 districts in Madhya Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh Governor Vishwa Bhushan Harichandan paid rich tributes to Sri Poti Shiramulu and paid homage to freedom fighters on the occasion of Andhra Pradesh Formation Day at a program held in Raj Bhavan. He also tweeted about the celebration. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagannath Reddy unfurled the national flag at his official residence at Tadepalli, Guntur district. He paid floral tributes at the statue of freedom fighter Potti Siramulu and Telugu Thali. AP State Chief Secretary Neelam Shawnee, Director General of Police Gautam Sawang and other senior officials attended the event.
The Union Territory of Puducherry celebrates its 66th Liberation Day today. The celebrations are on a low key in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. It was on November 1st, 1954, the Union Territory was liberated from French colonialism following a referendum in which all elected members from Puducherry voted against the French and preferred to join India. More in this report.
Subsequently, the French effected the de facto merger on this day in 1954. Later, the Indian government effected the de jure, that is transferring the territory to its union on August 16, 1962. Since then, Puducherry has been celebrating Independence Day on August 16th. Chief Minister Narayanaswamy unfurled the tricolor in a government function on the beach road to mark the occasion and inspect a guard of honor presented by the Puducherry Armed Police Force. A public holiday is usually observed on November 1st to mark the occasion. Greeting the people on the occasion today, Chief Minister Narayanaswamy exhorted the people to vote to safeguard the separate identity of this union territory with any sacrifice. Lieutenant Governor Dr. Kiran Pedi extended wishes to the people of Puducherry on this occasion. Chandramohan, Air News, Puducherry.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says to restore normalcy, agreements between India and China must be respected scrupulously in their entirety. GST collection crosses 1 lakh crore in October as the country marches towards economic recovery, says Finance Ministry. Campaigning for second phase of assembly election in Bihar ends this evening. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 91.54%. And in IPL cricket, Kings 11 Punjab to take on Chennai Super Kings. Kolkata Knight Riders faces Rajasthan Royals. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे. India continues to report a trend of steadily declining active cases. For the third day after the active cases dropped below the 6 lakh mark after nearly 3 months, the progressive decline has been maintained. Presently, India's total active caseload is 5,70,458. The active cases have dropped dramatically to only 6.97% of the total positive cases of the country, demonstrating a steady falling percentage of the total cases. Higher number of recoveries has aided the national recovery rate to further improve to 91.54%. 58,684 have recovered in the last 24 hours. Health Ministry said this sustained achievement is the result of collaborative action by the states and UTs under the Centre's strategy of comprehensive testing, timely tracking, quick hospitalization and adherence to the standard treatment protocol, which has ensured a standardized quality of medical care. More from a correspondent.
With the consistent decline in the active cases, the cases per million in India are among lowest in the world. India's average cases per million stand at 5,930. 17 states and union territories have cases per million lower than the national average. There has been a steady decline in the number of deaths in India. 21 states and UTs have deaths per million lower than the national average. The declining trend of the percentage active cases is commensurately supported by rising percentage of recovered cases. Higher number of recoveries has aided the national recovery rate to further improve to 91.54%. Anupam Mishra, AI News, Delhi.
In Telangana, 1,460 new cases of COVID have been reported during the past 24 hours. With this, the total cases in the state went up to 2,40,048. The recovery rate in the state has marginally improved to 91.84%, with 1,579 more people recovering yesterday. So far, 2,20,466 people in the state have recovered. Total fatalities rose to 1,341, following 5 more people succumbing to the infection yesterday. Currently, the state has over 18,000 active cases, out of which over 15,000 are in home isolation.
In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Boris Johnson had ordered the nation back into a one-month lockdown. At a news conference in London, Johnson said that the lockdown across England would start from midnight on Thursday morning and last until December 2nd.
We are going to extend the furlough system through November. The furlough scheme was a success in the spring. It supported people and businesses in a critical time. We will not end it. We will extend furlough until December. Christmas is going to be different this year, perhaps very different, but it's my sincere hope and belief that by taking tough action now, we can allow families across the country to be together.
This step was taken after the country passed the milestone of 1 million COVID-19 cases and a second wave of infections threatened to overwhelm the health service. The United Kingdom, which has the biggest official death toll in Europe from COVID-19, is grappling with more than 20,000 new coronavirus cases a day. In some of the most onerous restrictions in Britain's peacetime history, people will only be allowed to leave home for specific reasons such as education, work, exercise, shopping for essentials and medicines, or caring for the vulnerable. Essential shops, schools and universities will remain open, Johnson said. Pubs and restaurants will be shut apart from takeaways. All non-essential retail will close. In the United States, the campaign for the presidential election 2020 reaches its zenith as President Donald Trump and contender Joe Biden launch their final phase of campaigning across the battleground states. A report.
President Donald Trump will stage 10 rallies, 5 a day, making it the campaign's busiest stretch. Today, the president will hold rallies in Michigan, Iowa, North Carolina, Georgia and Florida. On Monday, he has scheduled events in North Carolina, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and 2 in Michigan. Joe Biden, who has made Trump's response to the coronavirus pandemic the central theme of his candidacy, will campaign today in Pennsylvania, a state that may decide the winner of the election. Trump has played down the virus and says his opponents are using it against him. He wants that a Biden presidency would lead to another virus lockdown, which the country cannot afford. The election is scheduled to be held on Tuesday, 3rd November. With H.L. Singh's report, Saurabh Sinha for AIR News.
In IPL cricket, Kings 11 Punjab will take on Chennai Super Kings in Abu Dhabi, while Kolkata Knight Riders will clash with Rajasthan Royals in Dubai. Yesterday, Sunrisers Hyderabad beat Royal Challengers Bangalore by 5 wickets in Sharjah. Chasing 121 runs, Sunrisers Hyderabad reached the target in 14.1 overs for the loss of 5 wickets. In another match, Mumbai Indians beat Delhi Capitals by 9 wickets in Dubai. Chasing 111 runs, Mumbai Indians overhauled the target for the loss of 1 wicket with 34 balls left.
Now let us take a look at today's weather update. The national capital Delhi had haze in the morning and clear sky later. The minimum temperature was recorded at 16 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 31 degrees. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 34 degrees. In Chennai, there will be partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 25 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature in the city was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 13 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 30 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Srinagar, the sky will be partly cloudy. The temperature in Srinagar will hover between 3 and 19 degrees Celsius. Leh in Ladakh will have partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The minimum temperature was -5 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 10 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 1 and 24 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will experience mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 7 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 28 degrees. Chandigarh will witness mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 14 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 30 degrees Celsius. In Ahmedabad, it will have clear sky. The temperature will hover between 18 and 34 degrees Celsius. Guwahati witnessed generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature in the city was 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 30 degrees Celsius.
In the Philippines, Typhoon Goni made landfall at Catanduanes Island this morning. At least 4 people are reported to have died. Homes have been damaged and roads inundated with flash flooding caused by barreling wind speed of 225 kilometers per hour and torrential rainfall. In a weather bulletin, forecasters have still warned of catastrophic violent winds and intense to torrential rainfall, as well as flash flooding, landslides and sediment-laden stream flows. Goni, known as Roli in the Philippines, is the most powerful storm to hit the country since Typhoon Haiyan killed more than 6,000 people in 2013.
Freight figures of Indian Railways continue to maintain high momentum in terms of earnings and loading in the month of October 2020. On mission mode, Indian Railways freight loading last month crossed last year's loading and earnings for the same period. The country remembered the Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel, yesterday on his 145th birth anniversary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tributes to Sardar Patel at the Statue of Unity at Kevadia in Gujarat yesterday. Mr. Modi called upon civil service probationers to connect themselves with people. He said in a way Sardar Patel was the father of civil services in India.
धरती माँ का सपूत था वो, किसानों का अपना सरदार था वो, हुकूमत पर तेज असरदार था वो, देश को जोड़ा शिल्पकार था वो, सोमनाथ का जीर्णोद्वार था वो, ऋण आज उसका चुका रहे हैं हम, उसे अंबर से ऊंचा, अंबर से ऊंचा, सबसे ऊंचा है सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार, सबसे ऊंचा है सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार, सबसे ऊंचा है सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार, तुम ना 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 तुम ना 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 नागिर ना 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 भव्य सरदार का ये दर्शन हर सदी में हमें पाना है, देशभक्ति और साहस का बल हर पीढ़ी को समझाना है, मां नर्मदा के तट से, हाँ अभी और इसी पल से एकता का संदेशा हम सबको, हाँ हर दिल तक पहुंचाना है, टुकड़ों में अपना बटेंगे, एक साथ हम सब रहेंगे, एक भारत शेष भारत बना के इस सुर में कहेंगे, भारत माता की जय। सबसे ऊंचा सबसे शानदार लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says to restore normalcy, agreements between India and China must be respected scrupulously in their entirety. GST collection crosses 1 lakh crore in October as the country marches towards economic recovery, says Finance Ministry. Campaigning for the second phase of assembly elections in Bihar ends this evening. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 91.54%. And in IPL cricket, Kings 11 Punjab to take on Chennai Super Kings. Kolkata Knight Riders faces Rajasthan Royals. And for details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on Air app. And with that, we end the Midday News.